Howdy, everyone. Welcome to another lovely edition of Friday Phil. I am me, Filthy Phil. You know, Friday Phil, the unfiltered. Hope everyone's having a great day. Hope everyone's having a great week. Hope everyone's enjoying themselves. You know, same old shit, different day. Why the fuck is my phone just being loud? Everything's being loud. It's all a bunch of loud. Loud House, anyone? Anyone ever watch that? No? Okay. Never mind. Yes, Jeffrey without a hat. I am not wearing a hat today. Just felt a little different. I am wearing a Boba Fett shirt, though. The man, the maker, the hunter, Boba Fett. Love me some Boba Fett. Love me some Star Wars. I didn't see any breaking news right before work or anything like that. Let's see if there's anything interesting in the Hollywood Reporter. Doubt it, but... Pixar gives first look at Toy Story 5, teases new original Gato at Anarchy. That's all right, cool. Well, there's a nice little piece here about Colin Trevorrow, but I'm not going to read that. No, it doesn't really look like there's much news. No breaking news at the moment or anything like that. So, you know, it's whatever. It's whatever. We do got some stuff to talk about today. That's for damn sure. Okay, if you paid attention to the thumbnail, obviously there's some things in there that we'll address, definitely. But let's just see who's here in the chat. My guy, Braden. Hey, Phil. I know you did not like the newest Superman trailer. I respect your opinion. But I have to disagree. I think the newest trailer was my second favorite. My favorite one being the official trailer. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, I know I'm not avidly telling people that they're wrong for liking the trailer, unless you're Donovan. Donovan seems to think I that's the case, but I digress. No, I mean, I know people like it. I did not. And I'm not going to spend a lot of the stream talking about that trailer. I'm just going to be talking about other things pertinent to the film itself. But yeah, I was not a fan of that trailer. If you guys really want to know how I feel, my trailer reaction is up on the channel for anyone who's genuinely curious. So, Jeffrey, what's going on, man? Happy Friday, Phil, everyone. Hope everyone having a good Friday. That's right. Dalton Bell, happy Friday. I don't know about you. I was surprised by the announcement of Spaceballs 2. I guess we are in search of more money, said every studio lately. I agree. 1000%. Jose. I'm back, and after your trailer reaction, I feel like I'm about to get wrecked. Hope you're well, Phil. No, man, I mean, look, if people like the new trailer, they like the new trailer. It's, you know, I'm not trying to change anyone's mind. That's for sure. I mean, I've got my opinions and thoughts on it, but no, man, good for you. Dalton won't be as good as the first one. Who knows, Jeffrey? Daryl Taylor in the house. What's up, my man? I think we are getting a final trailer for Fantastic Four around at the end of the month. I don't know. Maybe, possibly. I mean, I feel like the Fantastic Four marketing's been kind of just doing its thing, doing the thing it needed to. So, you know, I think it'll be just fine. I don't think Jurassic World Rebirth did a new trailer. Matter of fact, Jose, I'm here for Phil's thoughts, honest and unfiltered. Well, there you go. Boom. That's what everyone's here. I'm hoping for. But jumping right into it, there was something I did see in regards to the box office, and I guess we can maybe kick this off with a little bit of box office banter, right? Sounds like a good idea, right? So, this was an article from the Hollywood Reporter. And it says, Jurassic World Rebirth is tracking to set off major box office fireworks with 100 million to 125 million opening weekend. Universal and Steven Spielberg's Amblin are restarting the franchise with an all-new ensemble cast led by Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, and of course Jonathan Bailey. The movie opens over the long 4th of July holiday. If tracking is correct, Universal's Jurassic World Rebirth should open anywhere from 120 million to 125 million over the 5-day holiday corridor. The pick opens in North America on July 2nd, a Wednesday. Universal and Steven Spielberg's Amblin, home of the multi-billion-dollar franchise, are trying to manage expectations by stressing that the pick could come in on the lower end of tracking and even on the $90 million to $100 million opening range, and that's just pure domestic numbers. In 2015, Jurassic World opened to the series best at $208 million domestically, not adjusted for inflation. The two films that followed were, of course, Fallen Kingdom and then 2022's Jurassic World Dominion, opening to $148 million and $145 million, respectively. The trio of films were anchored by, of course, Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. And then in Dominion, you also had the stars of Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, as well as Sam Neill. The aptly titled rebirth takes place 5 years after the events of Colin Trevorrow's Dominion, which featured an all-new ensemble cast led, of course, by Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, Jonathan Bailey, Rupert Friend, Manuel Garcia Rolfo, Luna Blaze, David Iacono, Audrina Miranda, Philippine Velge, forgive me if I mispronounce that, Bakir Sylvian, and, of course, Ed Skrein. I had no idea Ed Skrein was in this movie, but now I know. Gareth Edwards directed the seventh Jurassic from a script from David Koepp, who worked on, of course, Jurassic Park and, of course, The Lost World Jurassic Park. Insiders say the film cost far less than the last two on a net budget of $180 million before marketing. In Jurassic World Rebirth, only a limited number of dinosaurs reside in specialized biospheres, and 3 of these creatures hold the key to a potential life-saving drug. Covert operations expert Zora Bennett, played by Johansson, attempts to secure the genetic material from the dinosaurs, but ends up stranded with a civilian family on an island that holds a secret being kept from humanity for decades. I'm assuming that's the giant fucking mutant dinosaur. So, well, hey William, I see you in the chat, man. That feels right. Jurassic World making anywhere between 90 million at the very minimum to at the most 125. Again, over a, let's see, July 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, 4 or 5 day opening weekend, because they're going to collectively lump those Wednesday numbers into Sunday, all the way into Sunday. So that feels accurate. I'm gonna look, like, are tickets even on sale? Can I get a ticket for Jurassic World Rebirth right now? Let's pull up Fandango. Because I already got my ticket for Superman. I have not gotten my ticket for Fantastic Four, only because of there's a chance I'm still hopefully going to Comic-Con, so I'm coordinating with a bunch of the guys to potentially go see Fantastic Four. Okay, so I can go get tickets for Jurassic World Rebirth right now if I wanted to. And they're actually doing 12 a.m. showings on Tuesday, July 1st. Wow. That's the first time I've ever seen like a midnight showing for a movie in like close to a decade. This is actually really surprising. Are there any seats available for these 12:01 showings? I'm genuinely curious. Let's see. Huh. This is a late night Tuesday night, early Tuesday show. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's in 3D, though, and I don't want 3D. I don't really want 3D at all. D-Box, real 3D, I don't want... Okay, standard XD. Let's see. Wow, the whole mid-roll is already sold out. But if I wanted to go see Jurassic World at midnight, I could if I wanted to. Not going to. But yeah, tickets are on sale. We're about three-ish weeks away from that. Let's count. Let's see. 1, 2, give or take about 2.5 weeks away from Jurassic World Rebirth coming into the fold in the box office game. Let's go ahead and take a look at the current numbers for, of course, Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch is currently sitting at a worldwide total of, oh my God, $810 million worldwide. Domestically, $350 million. Internationally, $459 million, for a worldwide grand total of $810,471,809. That's impressive. I'm saying, you know, Dave's been saying it too. Lilo and Stitch probably gonna make the first $1 billion of the year. Wouldn't doubt it. All right, let's check with Mission Impossible. Actually, let's check the latest release from the world of John Wick, Ballerina, starring Ana de Armas. So last week we didn't have any numbers. I was just looking at projections from the Hollywood Reporter. We now have projections after the first week, projections. We have official numbers after the first week. We are looking at domestically $32,432,471 and internationally $26 million for a grand worldwide total of $58 million. And the budget for this film was roughly somewhere between the $80 and $90 million range. Cracking about, 2/3 of that budget in its opening weekend. That's not bad. I mean, you usually want to break even on opening weekend, but for an action franchise that requires very little CGI, $58 million on a $90 million budget, that's not too bad. Just saying. Not too bad. I haven't seen it yet. I plan on seeing it. Hopefully, maybe. Well, actually, I'm probably going to end up waiting. A lot of this stuff I thought I was going to be able to see, but I just haven't had the time. Like Lilo and Stitch, like Mission Impossible, like all that. Just haven't had the time to go see it. But good for Ballerina. Hopefully it has a great second week. All right. Let's see. Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, is currently sitting at a worldwide total of $457 million. Looks like last week's drop, or rather as of yesterday, it had a 15% drop. And it looks like it's still playing in... It looks like Mission Impossible's only lost about 400 theaters, roughly, like 350, 400 theaters, and it's still doing pretty solid, pretty good business. But even still, like the budget for that film was apparently like $400 million before marketing. So they broke even on the budget. That's good, but hey, you also factor in the other, strikes and all that shit that really didn't help the budget at all for Mission Impossible. So I guess whatever Paramount deems that movie successful is what they will deem it. But, good for Tom Cruise, still making that money. All right. Karate Kid Legends, on the other hand, $39 million domestically, $38 million internationally for a worldwide total of course, $77 million. And I think this film didn't have a very high budget either. Right? Let's see. Reported budget was $45 million. Okay. So they're getting close to cracking even on that, and that's gravy. That's cool. So good for them. I still haven't seen it. Again, like my time has just been very, I'm very sparse about what I go to the theater to. I really wish I could pull a Dave Film Junkie and just go every week and just have that time and dedicate that time. But frankly, I got a brand new Nintendo Switch and I've just got other stuff going on. Like I can't afford to, but I will try. I will absolutely go out of my way to see all 3 movies in July. That'll be a good month for me. So there is that. I did watch Predator Killer of Killers over the past weekend. I saw it on Saturday or Sunday. That was good, but it's a streaming movie. I'm looking forward to Badlands. Predator Badlands should be a fun time. But going back to Jurassic World Rebirth, yeah, like I said earlier, $90 million on the low end to $125 million being the absolute top. That's pretty solid, considering the film has a net budget of $180 million before marketing. So that's cool. Will this film have legs? Like I've been saying in the last 2 box office banters, once Superman comes out, those dino legs are getting cut in half, if not more. I don't doubt one bit that Superman's box office will likely impact Jurassic World Rebirth immensely. Speaking of that, that's kind of it for the box office banter portion of this week. It's not super big. We'll wait and see what next week's numbers look like for the films I've listed and see how much better or worse Ballerina's doing. But as I mentioned earlier, the tickets for Superman have gone on sale. I really should have made these banners before I started. They're on sale, and it seems to be doing pretty good. I guess it broke the Fantastic Four numbers or whatever. I mean, it's a little early, a month out before the movie's release is usually the rule of thumb for when they do the ticket price drops or the ticket sales. That's usually when ticket sales go into effect, roughly a month before the movie's release. And considering July is packed with, of course, Jurassic World, then Superman, then you have Smurfs and I Know What You Did Last Summer on the same day. So there's that. And then, of course, the following week after that is Fantastic Four First Steps. Yeah, according to Luis Fernando, I've been hearing and I've seen just images of people talking about, how highly anticipated the Superman movie is and how well it's doing as far as tracking. Well, not tracking, but ticket sales are going. Probably, I would guess within the next 2 weeks, we will probably have a much more concrete idea of what Superman's opening box office weekend could look like, because I have been saying for a while that 150 to 175 million dollar thing has been kind of overblown with no concrete evidence behind it outside of, quote, people doing social media research. Well, social media research only gets you so far. Just because someone views something or just because you have a giant number of views does not mean every person who saw that, every million or every 30 million, that does not mean all 30 million people who witnessed that will actively go and see the product. So, and that's not me trying to be dismissive of Superman. I'm just saying, it's important to just keep in mind, people watch this stuff and they determine whether or not they will go see it. Yes, the numbers from a visual standpoint do look good. I will not fault that whatsoever. But I will just say that, again, we will get a better idea of what Superman's opening box office weekend will look like the closer we get to its imminent release. And I see some other people have entered the chat. Let's go ahead and say hi to them. I see Antonio Baker. I see Glimmercast Rhea. How you doing? Feel your catchphrase will make your money. Keep hyping it. You got to be more specific, Omega. I don't know what my catchphrase is. So there is that. Let's see. What are you saying, Lance? Love the increased presence in the streams. Y'all know Phil is the GOAT. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, even though we disagree on the latest Superman trailer. Jurassic World Rebirth might be the Transformers last night of its franchise where people just say, nah, I'm good. We'll see. I don't know what to predict, what can happen in July. And that's just it. Box office numbers and box office in general is an unproven science in a sense. And what I mean by that is films you think will be successful and don't end up being successful. Case in point, Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. Excellent movie by every stretch of the imagination. Bombed heavily at the box office. Going back to 1982 with Blade Runner. Again, excellent movie. Bombed hard at the box office. Its sequel did the same exact thing in 2017. Crying shame because those movies are amazing. I sent you to Jeff Bezos for a computer role in the Bond months ago. I'm not getting off this, Ray and Bond. Lovely. How to Train Your Dragon is so slept on. It can sweep the last 2 weeks of June while Lilo and Stitch is tapering off. Rhea, you actually bring up a really good point. I have not seen, but now that you mention that, let's take a look at what How to Train Your Dragon is tracking for this weekend. It looks like, according to Variety, How to Train Your Dragon to fly to $75 million opening weekend. Poised to fly anywhere between $70 to $80 million. Okay. And this was written by Rebecca Rubin as of 2 days ago. So that feels accurate. I will give it that. I'm not quite sure where the numbers are coming from, but apparently it cost $150 million to make. So doing half its budget on the opening weekend is, well, some studios would beg for that. Stand by my quote, as creepy as it sounds. Okay, buddy. Please don't be creepy in the chat. The other 4 movies in the top 5 highest viewed trailer views are Infinity War, No Way Home, Endgame, and Deadpool and Wolverine. Correct. You are correct there. He's talking about a Bond movie, sure, I guess. But I saw How to Train Your Dragon on Wednesday, and it was pretty good. I'm sure it was. I saw a little bit of Dave's review of it, and I saw a little bit of Chainsaw's review of it. Seems like it's the same movie in live action, which is fine. I don't really have a problem with that. I don't get the whole who asked for this crowd, because obviously fans of How to Train Your Dragon probably thought at some point like, wow, what would this look like in live action? And now the director of the animated movie has made a live action version for people to chew on. So there is that. We may disagree, but I ultimately feel we didn't need it, nor the TV spot the night before and after. It's overkill. My wife is actively avoiding them. It's too much. I can't really disagree with you there. Williams Fly saying, flying by, what's up? Warner Brothers splitting into two is actually very smart. That way they dump the $36 billion of debt. I think it might be being slept on because it's the same as the original, but I like the original. I need your opinion on if the actor who plays Hiccup can hold it down as Link in the Legend of Zelda movie. If you're referring to Mason Thames, I would say that I think he is a very talented young man, and I would like to see him in more things. I know he's in the first Black Phone. I know he's in the upcoming Black Phone sequel. As far as Link, pair him opposite with Hunter Schafer, and yes, I would actually be very interested in seeing how that goes. Again, I think he's a very talented young man. I could see him playing. Definitely, I could see it. Like I think that would work. I mean, you know, he's coming into How to Train Your Dragon, which is an animated film, was an animated film being adapted into live action. He's stepping into the shoes of Jay Baruchel, who voiced Hiccup. And, you know, yeah, I'd be for it. I'm open to it. I hope Miyamoto has more say on the matter and whatnot than, say, Avi Arad does, because this is Sony Pictures who's handling the Legend of Zelda movie. And that is where my biggest level of trepidation comes from, because I do not trust Avi Arad with The Legend of Zelda or any other franchise for that matter, because he is nothing more than a guy who is more focused on toy sales than making an actual good movie. So, all that said, I really do hope that Wes Ball does bring the heat and make a fucking excellent Legend of Zelda movie, and I think he will. But How to Train Your Dragon seems to be, you know, it will be heading off there, hopefully to a good start. Now, I do think that Superman is going to have a good opening weekend. I do think that a lot of people are itching for that movie. Again, according to other box office analysts that I've seen, talk about this one seems to be gaining a lot of buzz. And like I said, we'll be getting more concrete information for what that movie's opening weekend looks like the closer we get to the opening weekend of Superman, which is obviously the weekend of July 11th. I actually got my ticket for July 8th. I managed to get into one of the Amazon screenings for 7 o'clock at my local theater that I go to for nearly every single movie. So, which is really ironic, because I told Dave that I had no desire to like rush out and go get a ticket, but when I'd seen that the link was live at like 4:30 my time, I was like, well, okay, I'll check for curiosity's sake. And then sure enough, it was playing at my local theater and my seat was open. So I was like, well, first come, first serve, I suppose. So I will be seeing it July 8th. And yes, there will be a review posted probably that night, if not the next day. William, you are a saint and a scholar, my friend. Hats off to you. Purchased 58 seats for Superman for July 10th. Seriously, hats off to this man. Just give this man a fucking round of applause. He deserves it. He goes out of his way for his fans, for his customers, and he just does everything possible to make sure that these guys just fucking are well taken care of. Absolutely, props to you, man. Good shit. That's really good shit. Him hiring Michael Dudikoff and Pav Abdi was smart, but I'm not giving him that much credit. Heidi K, how you managed to remember your set seat? Well, Lance, I've been going to this theater for like 25 years, so there's that. And at the very least, like since they've started doing assigned seating, I've literally just kept to the left by the stairs. That way, in the event if I have to get up and go to the bathroom, I'm not getting in anyone's way, and I just walk down and go do my business, and then fucking promptly come back up and just sit back in my seat, not bothering anybody. That's really the only reason I try and stick with the same seat. It's literally the seat right next to where the stairs is. So It's at the end of the aisle. That's why I do my same seat. It's also kind of like an Asperger's autistic thing. But anyway, I got my tickets. I never thought I would say that in my life other than Man of Steel. So yeah, I get it. 100%, Antonio. I'm the same way. Like, I'm going to see it July 10th. Seems like a lot of people are seeing it on July 10th. So, and the marketing for this film has gone into overdrive. That's for sure. And I find that ironic because, well, this next thing I'm going to talk about, I'm just going to do away with the banners because that's just fucking wasting my time. The next thing I'm going to talk about is pertinent to Superman in a way because it is about the home studio that owns the IP. And that, of course, is Warner Brothers Discovery. If you guys saw in the thumbnail, of course, you saw the crack, the divide, if you will, between Warner Brothers Discovery because Warner Brothers Discovery is setting to split into two, streaming and studios, and then, of course, global networks. Hollywood conglomerate. It's a conglomerate, apparently. Warner Brothers Discovery on Monday made it official, unveiling plans to separate the company in a tax-free transaction into two publicly traded companies, enabling each to maximize its potential. Why do I feel like that's total bullshit? The streaming and studio company will consist of Warner Brothers Television, Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group, DC Studios, HBO, and HBO Max, as well as their legendary film and television libraries. The second business, Global Networks, will include such entertainment, sports, and news television brands around the world as CNN, TNT Sports, in the US, and Discovery free air channels across Europe, and digital products such as profitable Discovery Plus streaming service and Bleacher Report /BNR. David Zaslav, president of CE and CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, will serve as president and CEO of streaming and studios. Gunnar Wiedenfels, CFO of Warner Brothers Discovery, will serve as president and CEO of Global Networks. Both will continue in their present roles as Warner Brothers Discovery until the separation. The split is expected to be completed by mid-2026, subject to closing and other conditions, including final approval by the Warner Brothers Discovery Board, receipt of tax opinions, and/or a private letter ruling from the Internal Revenue Service with respect to the tax-free nature of the transaction for U.S. federal income tax purposes and market conditions, the conglomerate said. The cultural significance of this great company and the impactful stories it has brought to life for more than a century have touched countless people all over the world, Zaslav said in a statement. It's a treasured legacy, and we will proudly continue it in this next chapter of our celebrated history. He added, by operating as two distinct and optimized companies in the future, we are empowering these iconic brands with the sharper focus and strategic flexibility they need to compete most effectively in today's evolving media landscape. His CFO highlighted the separation would, quote, invigorate each company by enabling them to leverage their strengths and specific financial profiles. Continued, Wiedenfels. This will allow each company to pursue important investment opportunities and drive shareholder value. Oh, there it is. They want to drive up stock shares. So when you have two separate companies, you have less of it. Okay, I see what they're doing now. That's fucking hilarious. Okay, here we go. At Global Networks, we will focus on further identifying innovative ways to work with distribution partners to create value for both linear and streaming viewers globally while maximizing our network assets and driving free cash flow. Okay. Warner Brothers Discovery top executives will discuss the planning separation during Monday morning conference call with Wall Street analysts. 3 years ago, the very foundation of how, when, and where audiences engage with content was undergoing fundamental change. Zaslav highlighted in a staff memo ahead of the call, obtained by The Hollywood Reporter in reference to the 2022 combination of Warner Media and Discovery. As both organizations contemplated their futures, one truth became clear. To successfully adapt, transform, and lead in the entertainment industry of tomorrow, we needed to come together to draw on each other's strengths. This will also bring down the debt to a $17 billion loan. I'm sure that's probably stated in here, but if not, thank you for that insight, William, because you are the numbers man. And I don't mean that in a mean way. Zaslav acknowledged that the combination wasn't always smooth sailing. While the work since the merger has been challenging at times, ultimately we have succeeded in strengthening each element of our business, he said in the memo. By bringing together the Discovery and Turner networks, we have created a leader in live and unscripted television. That's questionable. With a truly global footprint operating at industry-leading margins, we've transformed our direct-to-consumer offering as HBO Max is now one of the world's few global and meaningful profitable streaming services. And by fusing creative brilliance with operational excellence, we have made strong progress in returning our film and television studios to industry leadership. In his memo, Zaslav highlighted what he feels is needed ahead as we look into our industry today. We see these forces of generational industry disruption only accelerating. To lead in this new world, we must operate with greater speed, sharper focus, and more creative freedom. Creative freedom, you say? That's a funny one. Well, there you have it. Warner Brothers Discovery is splitting up into two entities. The two entities, as I mentioned earlier, will be streaming and studios and, of course, global networks. Which is like, all right. I find that all really ironic because the board just downvoted to not approve his pay raise. From what I understand, he's probably not going to be around much longer. By much longer, I mean he'll be out in like a year, 2, 3 max, something like that, because he's just not gelling well with the board, from what I was told. But who knows? Things change. Things always change. Things always tend to change, and David Zaslav is definitely a guy who just likes it when things look pretty. And honestly, as William mentioned, they are doing this to bring down the debt with a $17 billion loan. So honestly, it doesn't surprise me that they would split the company up, especially because that would in turn split up the debt. So that makes sense. And also, they split into two separate companies, but are still technically the same company. But they're technically two different companies. So then they would have their each individual stocks that people could invest in. Which, well, shock, surprise, surprise to no one. Warner Brothers Discovery stock has been in the toilet for a hot minute. So with them splitting the company up into two entities, that means two separate companies, i.e. two separate stocks to bid on, and to share, and to own, etc., etc., etc. DC is worth $60 billion and possibly more for the rights films made. I don't know about that number, my guy. Why do you hate Dave? Oh, they're talking to Antonio in the chat. Hi, Bell. How you doing? Why do I always feel like they're splitting and selling? Well, yeah, it does kind of feel like that, doesn't it? It does really feel like that. A little bit. It does kind of feel like they're always splitting up and selling shit. But, you know, such is the nature of that beast that is Warner Brothers Discovery, of course. So, what does this mean for Superman and DC Studios? Honestly, not a goddamn thing. Not a goddamn thing. Nothing. DC Studios, HBO Max, HBO, they're all fine. They're all going to be A-okay. All their shit's going to fucking end up in the same spot anyway. So, that's not all that surprising. I think the more surprising thing was the fact that they're just going to split up. Split up being the fucking operative word there, I guess. So, whatever. I'm not, like, shrug, whatever. BFD, big fucking deal. Like, I'm just kind of looking at this like, no, okay, you're just trying to find ways to offset your debt. I get it. Which, you know, more power to them. But speaking of DC Studios. Speaking of DC Studios, specifically one head of DC Studios, Mr. James Gunn. James Gunn has been in the fucking news a lot. He's been in the marketing a lot for Superman. But what if I told you that there was some James Gunn Marvel stuff that came out in the news as well? I saw this the other day and I had a good laugh. This one actually genuinely made me laugh. So apparently, James Gunn told Marvel he would not put Thor in Guardians Volume 3, despite what Avengers Endgame finale turned out to be. Quote, I don't understand the character that much. This is kind of funny, not gonna lie. James Gunn stood his ground to protect his highly beloved Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, even against the studio that produced it. In a recent interview with Entertainment Weekly, Gunn said he fought back against the MCU's connected timeline after he saw Thor join the Guardians and the Avengers. I said in the script notes, I'm not going to put him in. I don't want to have Thor in the Guardians. I don't want to do a movie with Thor. I don't understand the character that much. I love watching his movies and I love Chris Hemsworth as a guy. I don't understand how to write that character. Well, Taika Waititi pretty much gave you the play-by-play of how to do it. Okay, that might have been a little too much, but anyway. Gunn also discussed teasing Will Poulter as Adam Warlock in the post-credit scene of Guardians Volume 2. Although it panned out with the character's major role in Guardians 3 at the time, it felt like, quote, fitting a square peg into a round hole. I did not like what I did in Guardians 2, where we set up Adam Warlock and we set up the Guardians of the Galaxy and we set up all this shit I didn't necessarily plan on. Well, I guess I kind of planned on fulfilling that promise, but you want to be careful about that. The way a post-credit scene works is a punch to the face, like, oh my God, look at this. At times when you're using it just solely to set something up, sometimes you're screwing yourself over. It was not easy to work Adam Warlock into Guardians 3. Things also panned out with Thor's arc with the Guardians. Gunn said Love and Thunder director Taika Waititi took on the burden of connecting Thor with the Guardians, leaving him with complete creative flexibility with Guardians Volume 3. They chose to have that ending in editing, Gunn said to Rolling Stone at the time. And I didn't think it was going to be in there. Endgame came out right after I decided to do Guardians again. No, you mean by the time you were hired back to do Guardians again. Anyway, I didn't have much to say in what was an Endgame, and then it came out, and I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? That's when Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige told me Taika's going to do Thor, and we'll have the Guardians in it. I said, thank God. To be completely honest, Thor was never going to be in this movie. Taika took a bullet for me because I was not going to have him in. I was just going to start up, and there's no Thor. Well, a couple things here. Number one, you don't know how to write Thor. Okay, that's understandable. That's like, asking Zack Snyder to write Spider-Man, or that's like asking, fucking Taika Waititi to write Batman. If you don't understand or know or feel like you know how to write a character, then you shouldn't. It's that simple. When it comes to Adam Warlock, bud, you've been teasing Warlock since Guardians 1. Whether or not that was a mandate from Marvel Studios or whatever, you could have very easily been like, no. But then you ended up using Adam Warlock anyway. My biggest problem with Guardians 3 is the way Adam Warlock was written and handled. If I have a critical flaw of the Infinity Saga, it was the way they handled the Soul Stone. And even then, that's being like a comic book nitpicky fan at best, because the way the Soul Stone worked in the MCU is not the way it works in Marvel Comics canon. It is very different the way it's handled there. So, yeah. I was a little perturbed by how that all transpired. And honestly, I was just not a fan of the way they depicted Adam Warlock in that movie. And now he's a permanent member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's just kind of a bumbling idiot who's hired for muscle. So, yeah. Found that interesting. Keeping in the Marvel conversation, though, this was also a little interesting. Saw this. I've seen this kind of get thrown around as a headline, and I don't really think it deserves like a big, oh my God, headline. But Scarlett Johansson asked to have Thunderbolts executive producer credit removed, says Marvel cast gets so enormous you sometimes feel like a device to move the plot along. Scarlett Johansson told David Harbour during a conversation for Interview magazine that she asked Marvel to remove her EP credit from the Thunderbolts. The tentpole opened in theaters in May. Harbour headlined Thunderbolts alongside Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and more. Harbour and Pugh originally made their MCU debuts opposite Johansson in Black Widow. It's the opening day of the movie, and you were seventh Thunderbolt in. Characters all over the movie. You were an executive producer on it. Congratulations. To which Johansson said, I asked to have my credit removed because I wasn't involved, more or less suggesting contractual reasons why she was credited. Elsewhere during the interview, the Black Widow co-star found common ground over the annoyances that arise while playing the same character for a decade or more. Johansson played Black Widow in the MCU for 11 years. Some of the films that I did for Marvel engage my character more than in others. Like in Captain America Winter Soldier with Chris Evans, we were really dynamic. In some other films, the cast was so enormous and there was so much plot to serve that you start feeling like you're a device to move it along. And if you're committed to 5.5 months of that, you're like, okay, I can't paint my nails. I can't get a haircut. These sound like silly problems, but your identity is wrapped up in this job for a long time. And if you're not doing engaging work as an actor, you feel a little cagey sometimes. Harbor can relate to Johansson after playing Hopper on Netflix Stranger Things for nearly 10 years. The series comes to an end with its 5th and final season this holiday. When I started, I loved it so much, Harbor said. Buddies of mine, we'd done TV shows for many years, said by season 3 or 4, you'll be running. And I was like, never. I love these guys so much. And then you get to a certain point where you're like, how much more story is there? You're having to play a lot of the same beat. And there's feeling when you're like, I want to take a risk. I want to do something that people haven't seen me do before. So yeah, after 10 years, it's like, okay. Johansson's Black Widow was killed off in Avengers Endgame. The Black Widow movie served as a prequel, blah, 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 blah. This is a quote from Johansson from Vanity Fair. It would be very hard for me to understand in what capacity returning would make sense for me for the character that I play. I miss my buddies and I really would love to be with them forever. But what works about the character is that her story is complete. I don't want to mess with that. For fans too, it's important for them. Yeah, I kind of co-sign all that. I mean, you know, I don't blame her. This isn't like some vindictive, like, ooh, take me off this project. It's just like, no, you know, I had nothing to do with this. So, you know, I don't really feel compelled to have my name on it as an executive producer. The only real relevance I think that is there as far as having her there as an EP would only serve the fact that Florence Pugh's Yelena is there. And obviously she was introduced in the Black Widow film, which was again produced by Scarlett Johansson. So yeah, I get where she's coming from. And that part about, you know, having your identity wrapped up in a film role and but not being able to, like, you know, be who you individually are in that time. I can understand the frustration. Definitely. Like that to me is just something I look at and I'm like, yeah, I see 1000% where you're coming from with this. This is very very personal, you know, like it when I read stuff like that, it again, you know, to a lot of other people, they probably look at some of these actors like Chris Evans, like Robert Downey Jr., like, you know, Henry Cavill, David Cornsweet, Ben Affleck, all these other people. And some of them, you know, average fans probably just see them as like, you know, they're characters. People who avidly watch films and movies and, you know, have an understanding of how the sausage is made, you know, who have respect for the people actually putting in the work, not just actors, but, you know, cast, crew, gaffers, cinematographers, all of these people, like, just putting in the fucking work. I think it's really easy to forget that some of these actors are in fact people. Like, it's a really easy thing to forget. So when I see stuff like this in articles, it's like, yeah, you know, like, they're people at the end of the day. We should treat them as such. And it just kind of sucks that when you have, you know, when you're tied to a role for such a long time, you know, after a while, you know, maybe you start to question, like, was me signing that contract such a good idea? Because now I'm literally confined to this specific persona and I can't, you know, change my hair. I can't do anything special with my nails. In some cases, they may not even be able to get a tattoo they may want or something like that. So again, it just really reinforces that these are people at the end of the day just doing a job, but doing the job to their best of their abilities. And I think that's ultimately what it should boil down to at the end of the day. You guys are just having a field day in my chat. Oh my goodness gracious. Wow. Without David, we wouldn't have Gunn. Yeah, I suppose so. Adam Warlock sucks. Oh, Jeffrey. Oh man, I will just say that I'm more of a fan of Adam Warlock in the comics than I am in the MCU. That's for sure. I really do like Adam Warlock as the Soulstone Keeper more so than the you know, the Sovereign Golden Boy. I will definitely give you that. The Adam Warlock setup felt like it didn't pay off the way Gunn wanted. There was like 6 years of stuff that happened between it. Right? I know, right? It was just very, it just kind of came and went. William was at the event in Vegas when he got on stage and said, "We will have 3 million subscribers to HBO Max." Hopefully they find someone who knows how to handle Adam Warlock better. Hosie XCI, I think you should watch Thunderbolts. I'm sure probably it will be on Disney Plus. I would assume probably before the beginning of July. It's a really great movie, but if you can't make the trek to the theater to go see it, I'm telling you, man, like if you like, this is, I would say top tier MCU. It's in my top 10, but that's just me. I don't know how you feel about the MCU, but I had a really great time with Thunderbolts. Raya 2, I think the message was stronger than the actual story. I can believe that. Bawled my eyes out when she died. Yeah, I mean when Black Widow died, I was just like, that's a hell of a sacrifice. Wednesday is my favorite show besides Stranger Things. See, there you go. Stranger Things isn't my bag, but I love Wednesday. That's for damn sure. That's how I felt being a Power Ranger.
Get him out of here. Shut the fuck up, fat man. This ain't none of your goddamn business.
Fuck are you on, Lance? What the fuck are you on, my guy? Oh, man. Power Ranger? You're not a Power Ranger. But anyone who is a Power Ranger fan, check out Ranger Nation with Lance. Check that show out. Fun stuff. Fun stuff they got going on there. That's for damn sure. That's faux damn show. Bell, I'm good. I've been doing this show for 41 episodes now. Every Friday, 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. It's a blast. I enjoy it. I enjoy doing the thing every Friday. Just getting to chat with my usual peanut gallery here, between Jeffrey, Dalton, Braden, Antonio, Lance, like all these guys are great. Ray is great too. Like anyone who pops in, Omega, like the great bunch of people here who come in every week and make my week a little more satisfying at the end. And William comes in too, of course, heckling me of all sorts about fucking, all manner of whether or not Batgirl shouldn't have been canceled and whether or not, Smallville was worth a damn in the CW as a whole, and, continuing to heckle me about Miles Morales, but it's all in good fun. Of course, William's a great guy too. Lance wants to be the White Ranger. No, Lance is the Red Ranger. I'm the White Ranger. Specifically, I'm the White Dino Ranger. That's for sure. Lance will understand that reference. Anyway. Yes, guys. Can you believe it? 41. We've done this. I've been doing this for 41 episodes. 41. 9 more and we get to the big 5-0. Whee! Yay! Woo! Ah! Yeah. Cool. Yeehaw. But yeah, 41 episodes.
This is fucking awesome.
It's fucking awesome. Super fucking awesome. No, Jake is not the White Ranger. We don't talk about him here. Not on my fucking show. I actually have an audience. But let's get to some other stuff before I wrap it up. There was quite a giant, bringing it back to James Gunn, a massive fucking Entertainment Weekly spread. But there was something in this Entertainment Weekly spread that I found very interesting. If y'all want to fucking read it, go read it. It's on Entertainment Weekly. And there's a whole bunch of shit about fucking Superman in the movie, yada, yada, yada. Go read it. Go find out. But here's the juicy little bits here. DC and Gunn fans are craving those specifics. The future appears bright for Superman and his pals in the DCU. David Zaslav, head of Warner Bros. Discovery, got in front of a group of investors earlier this year, declared that the Man of Steel was crucial to the longevity of the franchise, as well as Supergirl, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Sitting in a large conference room where he's just about to watch the dailies from HBO's Lanterns, halfway through filming, by the way, Gunn agrees with Zaslav's statements, but provided one caveat. I wouldn't say only those 4 characters, but I would say that those 4 characters are incredibly important to us. Right now, I feel great about where 2 of those characters are, and then we're dealing with the other 2. Superman flies into theaters on July 11th. When asked if he's already thinking of a sequel, Gunn replies, "What I'm working on is in some way... I mean, yes, but it is a straight up Superman sequel. I would not say necessarily." Now, what does that mean, right? A lot of people are under the impression it's World's Finest. I understand the logic. I understand the thought process. Batman is also one of James Gunn's favorites. It's ironically one of the few things we have in common, that Batman is my favorite and one of James Gunn's favorites. And apparently he's working very closely with the writer on Brave and the Bold. So we'll see what happens on the Batman front. But I will just say that we have seen a movie with Batman and Superman in it. I think it would be in James Gunn's best interest to avoid that same line of trajectory. Even if you give Batman his own movie in the form of Brave and the Bold before you get to a follow-up that would include World's Finest. Or hell, if you just pull the trigger and do a Superman, Batman, World's Finest movie before you do Brave and the Bold. I don't fucking know, okay? Here's what I will say, though. If we're getting this cosmic adventure in the form of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, and it follows closely to that book, good. I'm all for that. I will just say that if James Gunn is working on a Superman-centered sequel, but it's not an outright standalone Superman sequel, but he does do ensemble casts. Let me throw this out there. What if James Gunn is working on a Superman and the Legion of Superheroes movie where Superman gets thrust forward in time, or the Legion of Superheroes gets thrown back in time? Superman has affiliated with the Legion of Superheroes in the past. I will just say that is a equally possible opportunity as opposed to the World's Finest rumor that has been spinning madly out of control. But that's where my head's at when it comes to that. Okay, the next movie in the DCU, as I just mentioned, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, starring Millie Alcock as Kal-El's cousin, Kara Zor-El, June 26, 2026. Bruce Wayne and Diana Prince, already announced for development, are a film inspired by Grant Morrison's Batman and Son comic, of course, as well as a Paradise Island HBO series about the Amazons of Themyscira. The latter is slow-moving, but it's moving, Gunn says, while confirming Wonder Woman movie is being written right now. Well, there you have it. Another Wonder Woman movie is in the works, apparently, at DC Studios. I mean, I can't really say I'm surprised. Let me get my surprise face. Surprise face. I mean, how do you what do you do different? Do you make Wonder Woman a World War II movie? Do you do the origin? I don't think you do the origin again. I don't think that's given that we've already got a great origin film from Patty Jenkins. I don't see a Wonder Woman origin film happening anytime soon. I definitely think we're going to finally see a Wonder Woman in modern day film. I would be very, very happy to see that. Because if the Paradise Lost series is taking, years before Diana is even come into play, that's kind of how you can set her origin up in this universe without really having to retread on what Patty Jenkins did. But I do think that if this Wonder Woman film gets off the ground and it gets, if the script ends up being good in a timely manner, I could see it getting fast-tracked, and I would honestly hope I would want to see a modern day Wonder Woman film where she's in modern day, present day, like have her be alongside Corn Sweat Superman and whoever the fuck they decide to cast as Batman. Like, give me a modern day Wonder Woman story where she's going up against, I don't know. Azzarello and Cliff Chang's fucking Wonder Woman book is a beautiful starting point. You have modern Greek gods acting as everyday fucking people. Do something like that. Or I'll even take it a step further. Do something a little more fantastical. Bring in Giganta. I would love to see something like that. Or maybe, bring it down to maybe a little less fantastic, but still keeping a little bit fantastical. Do Silver Swan. Show me Silver Swan. I would like to see that too. But who do you cast as Wonder Woman in the DCU, right? Because it's not going to be Gal Gadot. That much I can say for sure. The giant rumor is I've seen, Isaac Gonzalez's name thrown around from rumors. Adria Arjona is from Andor. She's dating Jason Momoa. Wouldn't be shocked to see something like that happen in the future. I don't know. It's just nice to know that Wonder Woman is getting a movie. I'm just kind of miffed that Patty didn't get her third movie. But I will let you guys know this. From what I was told, a lot of I was under the impression that Patty Jenkins had to work with Jeff Johns on that second film, 84, because he was head of DC Films at the time. No. She chose to work with Jeff Johns on that project. Yeah. That's a big, what? Yeah. That threw me for a fucking loop. I was like, wow, you chose to work with him over Alan Heinberg and Jason Fuchs? Okay. Apparently no one wanted to contest Patty on that notion. Everyone, after Wonder Woman 84 was done, people internally at WB thought it was bad. Really bad, and they knew it, but nobody wanted to tell Patty Jenkins, hey, maybe you should have gotten a different writing partner, or maybe you should get a different writing partner. And the thing is she's openly talked about going back and forth with him on the fucking script about this, and I'm just well, given what 84 turned into, yeah, maybe you should have gotten a different fucking writing partner, because let me tell you, Jeff Johns, he was a good DC writer, and I'm being generous by saying good, because the last leg of his career was abysmally ugly. I did not like a lot of what that dude wrote. He got progressively worse after Aquaman and Justice League. His stint on both those books gave his ego a flare, and it was bad. Really bad. But his live action movies, oh my God. Wonder Woman 84, he should not have written that movie. Someone else should have helped Patty Jenkins write that movie, and it pains me to say that she chose to work with him. And I'm like, okay, made your bed, lay in it. Whatever. It is what it is. So now I'm kind of looking at why Warner Brothers probably went, maybe we should do something different for a third movie. Then James Gunn and Peter Safran were like, we're going to do something different entirely. And it's like, all right, okay. Do your thing, guys. Do your thing. Do your thing. But, what will come from this? Have no idea. We'll see what happens with the Wonder Woman film. Gunn goes on to say he hasn't cast the DCU's Batman or Wonder Woman, but notes that Robert Pattinson is, quote, still there in director Matt Reeves' corner of the DC franchise. Although there have been many delays, Pattinson will return for the Batman Part 2. Meanwhile, Reeves continues to build out his Batman Epic Crime Saga, a series of movies and shows, including The Penguin, that remains separate from the DCU's franchise story continuity. Quote, what Matt's doing is still really important despite all the stories to the contrary. Quote, we're supposed to see that script shortly, and I can't wait. I'm not going to say what I know, but I'm just going to drop something. I'm going to drop something that I usually use for other people, but I'm just going to drop something. And that should be a bit of an indicator here. Okay? Okay.
You lying sleaze. You want to rethink that answer?
I'm not going to say anything that I know. It's not my place, not in a live setting. But I have thoughts about that I'm not going to disclose publicly or live. A couple other people I've told privately, but there's something. Well, what does Bruce Wayne say in Batman v Superman? Don't believe everything you hear, son. That's all I'll say about that. That's all I'm going to say about that. Are you team bring Matt Reeves' universe in the DCU or hell nah? No, keep it separate. The tones clash. Robert Pattinson's Batman is not the Batman that they want for the DCU. No, just keep them in separate worlds. Just please, just give me Elseworld stuff outside of Robert Pattinson's Batman, but also like keep his shit separate. They do not need to be together at all. I've seen so many garbage ass fucking photoshops of the two of them together, and I'm like, yeah, no, these two don't no. Absolutely not. No. Hard no. Absolutely negatory no. Mm-mm. No. Definitely not a fan of that idea, but thank you for asking. Those tones would be so awkward. Yes, they would. They would be extremely awkward, and I do not want them meshing together at all. Like, at all. Anyway, there's more here about, there's mention of the Justice League and all that shit, and if you guys want to read the Entertainment Weekly spread, it's a giant fucking just, crank fest to James Gunn and Superman and what they're doing with it. And, towards the end there, they've got, hints and, hints at what they're doing next. So it's a fun read for anyone who's a fan of that film or looking forward to that film, more power to you. But yeah, that's, yeah, no, I can't see the Batman in the Gunverse either. I'm not a fan. Not really a fan of that idea at all. Just no thanks. Lance, just stop, okay? She can act. She's an actress. That's what they do. They act. Shea Bell is the answer. I don't know who Shea Bell is. They need a person of Muslim descent to play Talia al Ghul. I don't know about that, because I'm not dismissing what you're saying. I will just say that I don't think Talia exclusively needs to be of Arabic or Muslim descent, because the simple fact that Ra's al Ghul has lived for 600 plus years, and he has visited multiple countries, multiple places. So Talia can be like half, but that's not to say that her mother could be of English descent or African descent. Something, Middle Eastern is the correct verbiage. You're right, Belle. Yes. But like, I don't think Talia al Ghul needs to 100% be Middle Eastern through and through. I think that Ra's al Ghul absolutely, like, he's got multiple children from multiple wives. Like that's not, unheard of. But I think the ethnicity of the actress, it matters. I will say that it absolutely fucking matters 1000%. But I will just say, I don't think it exclusively just needs to be Middle Eastern. I think you can have Middle Eastern blood. I think you can, have an actress of mixed ethnicity, and that will work just fine too. But, that's just me. That's just me. Yennefer, actress from The Witcher, would be perfect. Okay, is that Priyanka Chalotra? Let me see. Is that the same chick? Yennefer of Vengerberg? Anya Chalotra. There we go. It looks like Anya Chalotra is the actress, right? Is that who you're referring to? Priyanka. Okay, yeah, Priyanka. You're right. Priyanka. Yeah. No, Anya Chalotra. That's who it is, if I'm not mistaken. Al Pacino played Cuban. Yes, he did. William's absolutely right. Al Pacino played a Cuban in Scarface. You're absolutely correct there. Yeah. Okay, so Anya Chalotra is actually already in James Gunn's DC universe. She's actually Cersei. So I would imagine that if she does make the jump from the animated Creature Commando show, they would probably wind up keeping the casting from that character to live action. Unless there's some kind of scheduling conflict and she couldn't handle it or do it or whatever. I don't know. Al Pacino isn't Cuban. After the great role, he did amazing. No, he's not Cuban, but what William is saying, he played a Cuban in Scarface. Same thing with Vandal Savage. He is also immortal. Here we go. James Caan played a Sicilian. They just need to act the part. Right, exactly. It's all about getting the right actor for the right role. Having an ethnicity that is reflective of the role is a plus, but ultimately I just kind of side with, right actor, right role. Like get a good actor for the role. So that's where I'm at with it. Speaking of actors and roles, this will be the last thing I talk about before I wrap up my show, and that is the surprise announcement of one Spaceballs 2. That's right. So let's go ahead and take a look at this lovely little tease. This shit right here was actually pretty cool. Not going to play the music because I don't want the copyright, but I'll just read it as it comes down or goes up. 38 years ago, there was only one Star Wars trilogy, but since then there have been a prequel trilogy, a sequel trilogy, a sequel to the prequel, a prequel to the sequel, countless TV spin-offs, a movie spin-off of the TV spin-off, which is both a prequel and a sequel, not to mention 2 Dunes, 7 Jurassic Parks, 2 Avatars, plus 3 upcoming Avatars, making 5 Avatars, 36 MCU movies with 2 different Robert Downey Jr.'s, DCU attempt number 1, DCU attempt number 2, an animated Lion King, a live-action animated Lion King, a live-action animated Lion King prequel, 8 Harry Potter movies, a TV series remaking the same 8 Harry Potter movies, a whole streaming service of Star Trek, 7 Alien movies, 2 of which were also Predator movies, not to be mistaken for the 6 Predator movies. They're also Alien movies. 1 Prometheus, which is kind of an Alien movies. 4 Beetle movies, and Oppenheimer. But in 38 years, there's only ever been one. Spaceballs! Until now. Oh, I should probably turn on the...
What do the fans want? But
Mel
instead,
Brooks,
we're
everyone.
making this movie.
Mr. Mel Brooks!
May the Schwartz be with you.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Spoofs are back, baby. Also, I don't know if anyone saw this, but Lewis Pullman actually just got announced as part of the cast, too. He will be joining his father, Bill Pullman. So Bill Pullman is reprising his role. Rick Moranis is reprising his role. And, of course, Josh Gad is coming in to play a role that everyone is theorizing is the son of John Candy's character, the late, great John Candy. So, I haven't seen Spaceballs since I was a young wee lad. I feel I need to revisit that very soon, I'm sure. But yeah, Lewis Pullman has been added to the cast. That came out yesterday. So yeah, Spaceballs 2 is absolutely happening. Love it. Love to see it. Can't wait for it. Mel Brooks is coming back as his character Yogurt. I would hope they get started filming on that sooner rather than later for obvious reasons. Knock on wood there for obvious reasons. Okay. Anyway. I think that's about it. I didn't really see anything else. I mean, there's a lot of other quotes in there I could talk about Superman, but I'm just not going to do that. Don't really feel compelled to do that because, well, I just don't want to bring anyone's joy down. If you're excited for that movie, I am very happy for you. But yes, that is where I'm going to put a pin in it for this edition of Friday Phil. As you all know, you guys know where to follow me along. Of course, you've got Vero, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. You can catch me here on YouTube. You can catch my Eternal Night show, which I just released an episode with my buddy Travis Hines over at DC Alliance, as well as the Animation Nation, where we talked about Superman, All-Star Superman, and the Summer of Superman. You can probably see me on the Council of Creators show on Wednesdays, as well as Party Nation on Tuesdays. You can also catch me on the latest episode of Phil at the Movies, where my buddy Phil Walsh and I talked about on his show, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, an exclusive 3.5-hour length. That's right. I did a 3.5-hour podcast talking about one of my favorite fucking movies of all time, and it was an amazing conversation. I'm glad I got to do it. And Phil will be returning to the Batcave very, very shortly to talk about Batman Begins for its 20th year anniversary very, very soon. Be on the lookout for that in the Eternal Night podcast feeds. of course. And I will be doing some, I got to get back into my Pokemon Silver replay. I'm almost done with that. Can you guys believe that? I've got like 4 more fucking badges to get and like, 120 something more Pokemon to get. God, I can't wait. Can't wait to be finished with that game. And then I will be moving into a non-Pokemon game for the next, replay. And that will be, of course, Kingdom Hearts 2. That was voted by poll in the poll for one of the previous Friday fills. That was the next one my fans voted on. So I will be doing Kingdom Hearts 2 next after I finish Pokemon Silver. But everyone, as I love to say to all of you, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you, Rhea, Josie, Omega Swiper, Antonio, Christopher Evans. I saw you pop in there at the last minute, man. Dalton, William Powell, Daryl, Antonio, Daryl Taylor, Bell Reeve, Lance, Dalton. God, I feel like I'm missing someone. Jeffrey, of course. I'm probably going to wind up making Jeff a mod, guys. Just so you know, Jeffrey will probably end up being a mod. Williams Fly, I know you're from Williams Stream on the Sci-Fi Center. You guys can also feel free to catch that show when you get the chance. But Braden, he also came in earlier as well. So, just big thanks to everyone who comes in every week and takes time out of the day to chat with me about all this stuff. So it'd be very interesting. Keep up the great work. Like, share, subscribe. Just do that thing. Really helps me out. Really greatly appreciate it. So, do the thing. Just do that thing, and I really greatly appreciate it. I love it. We love it. We love everything. Star Wars, DC, Marvel, you name it. Entertainment, we love it. But that is where I'm going to put a pin in it, guys. And yes, of course, Omega, thank you for reminding me. I will hopefully probably be on the vodka stream later tonight, talking with Dave and everyone else about, everything transpiring this week as far as ticket sales go and things like that. So without further ado, everybody, much love. Take care. Stay safe. Keep it classy. I love you all. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great Father's Day weekend. Have an excellent Father's Day weekend. Much love.